All right, shall we begin?
Um,
Any questions?
yeah, yeah, we dance.
You remember how to do that? I'm keeping that in. I'm gonna have that as the intro. Ah, yes, 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 yes. Good morning, Yari.
Good morning.
What are you dancing today?
Ah,
I think Yari has frozen a
uh,
little bit. No, you're back. You're back.
I'm dancing. I'm back. I'm dancing another. I think I'm dancing a bit to your last episode.
Hmm.
Say yes to everything.
Hmm.
But I think there is also some stuff about, still from the episode, about the repetition
Yeah.
somehow.
And I think for me,
The discrepancy between saying yes to something and repeat what I said
mm,
yes, the things I said yes before.
mm,
And then of
yeah.
course, sorry, I'm already going into this. When if it, am I doing better? And so I say yes to make it, and
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
again the episode.
Yeah, in fact,
What about you?
I think, uh, I think you're pointing on something that I think is really important in improvisation. Like to go back to last week's episode of what is improvisation, is like the intention why you're dancing becomes fundamental in the improvisation. So exactly as you say, like, is it to dance better? Is it to dance a good dance? Is it to dance a good performance? Those like whys, the goals, the intention, the reasons for dancing in the first place become a big part of what it is. Um, this is so beautiful, Yari. Yari is spinning on the chair, and uh, how did you find the prompt in this week's episode around do do something that you feel is wrong and stay with it, this kind of direction? Was this useful or
Yeah, it is challenging because the background I have with dance has a tendency of telling me you're here to train, no?
mm,
Even practice. I have to remember when I practice that practicing is not training.
yeah,
So the things of getting better, being more focused, get to the point. We also spoke about that maybe last week, something like that,
yeah.
about the isolation and be with one thing. So yeah, it was a bit challenging, I must say. Um, but then also it was rewarding maybe to think. But I mean, the things is what was changing because after a while,
Sorry,
stay with that became
I didn't hear what you said.
yes. yeah, that's after a while it was challenging, but then stay with that also became too what became comfortable. So
Yes, yes.
maybe it, what I mean, if the value, whatever we think is virtuous or is good,
Hmm.
is suddenly shifting, then it's not anymore a mistake. That I'm just deconstructing or reconstructing uh, something that then has value,
Yeah.
whatever, So
I mean, I think,
it's good. I mean, it's
yeah, I think
go on.
I get really like in myself, if I can just be invested in something, then this in itself provides a value and an intentionality, which uh, is interesting. But it does beg the question of like, is there a value in, or is it even possible to stay with things that yeah, you find discomfortable, or it's like it's an impossibility. There's something beautiful in dance where even if it's problematic to stay with it, you find a way of appreciating it. You find a way in, like something changes. It's very difficult to stay in a permanent state of disagreement if you're to stay there. The staying becomes um, the effective part of the improvisation. And I think that's often like this sort of like say yes is this thing of like stay there, stay longer, stay with it. You see it often when like in an improvisation setting and the improviser drops the thing they're with, and then that's usually the thing that I feel like we should be trying to avoid or work against. However, even dropping can then be sort of incorporated into a sort of positive, right? So like, hmm, or distraction perhaps is even another like way of defining that. But it's tricky because, yeah, can you truly then be distracted if your distraction is intended um, to then become something you stay with? I have this exercise. Maybe we can try it, Yari. So you do a movement
Mhm.
and you do it until you forget what you were intending to do with it. And then you find another intention and you do that until you forget what you were doing with it. So all the while, you're like, you do something intentionally until you forget what you were trying to do in the first place. And then you keep moving uh, into a sort of what you think it is now, or what you think you are doing, what your intention is, and then you do that until you forget exactly what it was. And so you're playing with this sort of like, can I know? Do I know the intentionality of what I'm doing, uh, and how it changes in time as well, right? Like you set off an improvisation because you want to work on saying yes to things, but then halfway through you find you're working with something else, or that the intention has changed through doing, uh, which then speaks again to this sort of like the what are we following, and is it singular? Does it have just one voice? And can it have one voice?
It made me make me think again about how much we use in improvisation um, repetition to cover failing, or not to cover because it's there is no fail and wrong, but like to create a patterns of like, oh, that was somehow not improvised. Oh, I bump on the wall. Okay, I can bump again, and then I create a
Mm.
repetition, rhythms, and then this bump is become the material for sort you know
Yeah.
become
This
virtuous on what I'm
becomes
doing. Or
included.
everything,
Yeah.
everything is already
Yeah.
exactly. So that's also
Yeah. And I mean, it also it challenges a little bit like the conception of what is repetition? Because the first time you trip, I think falling, tripping, losing balance, these are really good examples because they're so like, oh, incidental. I tried to pretend I did one then, but it's so
right.
unexpected. Like they're truly spontaneous. You find yourself falling before, like after the fact almost, and and then yeah, like the way to sort of gain control over it can be to repeat it, but you can never repeat it in that accidental manner that it happened. So then it has this sort of like choreographic nature where you are trying to include uh, the rupture of it. I mean, I think some somatic practices they try to move us towards this more uh, accidental positioning of choice making or being in the body, where we remove as much
Right.
thought as possible, mm, and value. And this is often why somatic practices don't trend towards the stage, and why improvisation perhaps does in a sort of more general sense. It has a greater desire for control. And that speaks again to that thing of staging and that we were speaking about last week. The thing of trying to control and isolate something from the unpredictable around it. Yeah.
It makes me think that closing the eyes though is really a good strategy to
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, because the the value that you gain from having sight is sort of limited, or it's removed, and then you can be with
yeah.
values isolated. But then does that speak to this practice of um, creating tight frames? I have to think of the composition study we did, where we isolate sound and we isolate the video being on and off and the chat. And we do them separately. And then in the improvisation, we say you add either a sound or you add a video or you add text. I mean, you can add them simultaneously, but there's an attention towards working in isolation and working in a tight frame where and it's productive, right? It's this thing of like limitations can be extremely creative. Um,
Mhm.
oh,
It made me think a lot. I think a bit through authentic movement by witnessing people closing their eyes
aha, yeah,
and
yeah,
how do they behave in this closing eyes situation. But also is I think it's also I use it for a solo that you actually mentored me also. Um,
aha, yeah,
you remember the slow walking
yeah,
solo? I
I
think it was
do.
called. I don't
What
remember.
was it called?
Uh, um,
I'm glad you don't remember, Santo.
Void
Yeah.
something. Toward the
Mm,
void, void.
mm,
And that was like, but one of the main tasks of the solo was a slow walking, where I close my eyes. If as much as I feel balance, I close my eyes.
Yeah.
And I stay on the edge of kind of shaking, but it's not that I shake because I want to shake, but I shake through the fact that I am not, I can't really see very well.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So you have these
So I am on the
responses that are,
edge of
yeah,
balance, basically.
yeah. And
Exactly.
what do you think about these limitations?
And that was clearly like,
What do you think of them in terms of like, are
I'm
they a type of
finding,
choreography? Yes, yeah. Yeah, you were finding um these bodies that were out of control. I'm trying to also now do things with my eyes closed. But yeah, did you hear my question?
yeah. Uh, what was your question?
Yeah, so these things which are like limitations, are they not a type or a form of choreography? Is that not, could you not look at set sequences and say, well,
Right.
this is like the limitation of close your eyes, but just on a larger scale. Like it's just tighter. That it's not just close your eyes. It's like have your arm here at this count in time and move it in a jagged way whilst turning the hips at the same time. You know, it's just extremely limited compared to a task like close your eyes. And then we could even go further and say, you know, when you go to an improvisation class, often it's either tacitly assumed or it's explicitly sort of labeled that the dance stays inside this room, and then the room becomes a type of limitation. And is that not arguably a kind of choreography, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Any score, any task is a
Yeah,
choreography, right? I mean, in the simple score is a choreography, a task is a choreography. And the difference maybe is that the point was exactly to use the closing eyes to go to get this body that
mm,
vibrate and shake
mm,
without me needed to kind of
yeah, to do it.
shake through that. So it's almost like using an instrument in that sense. It was very clear using a tool. So
Yeah,
I open my eyes more if I'm about to fall. I close my eyes if I'm
yeah,
too. I am just simply walking. I mean,
yeah.
it's a that.
And I feel like we don't have much language for this. Like I was working with Simon Vincenzi, and I felt like he was wanting a body that is responding rather than a body that is improvising, that is choosing uh, spontaneously. Because when I asked once or something, is this improvisation? He was very clear to say, like, no, this is not improvisation. This is extremely choreographed. And yet, what we were doing was unpredictable. We were sort of exactly allowing the body to respond to tasks and situations and scenarios. And this is sort of an interesting uh, position because I feel like you could call it an aspect of improvisation, something that many choreographers and practitioners are trying to get to. Even like I felt for a long time, contemporary dance had a strong emphasis on getting to this place where the body is performing without you thinking, that it goes to places which are extremely new. There's this sort of like unknownness that the body is always is moving into places that are unestablished habitually, and functionally inside the body. I definitely felt this when in my MA I was working with Pat Rocco. She would have us improvise and she would shout, no, 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 you're not, you have to just be, don't think, don't do, don't just move without thinking, move without doing. And there's this sort of beautiful heightened state of that with her sort of really enforcing it. If I remember correctly, she would probably say it was not this at all. But you know what I mean? There are these tensions where I think improvisation can be extremely choice-based and controlled and not care at all about going to a place which is unknown and radically spontaneous and has this sort of reactive body. But at the same time, it can also be that as well, where choreographers are desiring a body that is unknowable to the person dancing and to us witnessing, perhaps.
Yeah, it's a good point because it reminds me, sometimes with improvising without task, it's a sort of it's something bad. Like, oh, we improvised because self-expression is bad self-expression,
Yes.
something like that.
Yeah.
On the other side, also in your exercises, it's often like first you just go for it and you notice, and then you work again. So somehow it's always also improvisation in your exercises are usually quite task oriented.
Yeah.
Or notice what is the task you're following.
Yes.
So I wonder if because even improvising and just noticing what you're busy with and not taking it is still a lot of thought. It's not like maybe this idea of, oh, the bodies will just lead you. So which kind of skills then? This kind of improvisation where it's more improvised than ever in the sense that you don't want to know what is the choreography.
Yeah.
You don't want to get the choreography. You don't even want to think the choreography exists.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And that's the purity, no? This is where then when we dichotomize choreography and improvisation, we actually speak about.
Yeah. It's so true. So true. This sort of idealized place. And I think, like, again, with a lot of those tasks and things, there's this impossibility, and we all recognize it like, oh, this is such an impossible task to not think and just move or whatever the task is. And yet we also recognize there is a place where we feel less in control and we feel more taken by the thing, especially in comparison to exactly that sort of like open room, just dance, just start improvising, and there's no task, there's no things, and then you really are relying on tasks that you've had in the past or like your own practices of dealing with that kind of instruction and so on, right? Shall we dance out? I think this conversation will continue. I think the next few episodes are to do with improvisation in different ways. And you're inspiring me to think more about, why do I always start with this? Just improvise. Because it's not a negative thing, right? Either. Just improvise.
No, not at all. Yeah, but before just improvise,
Mm.
maybe you want to say something about episodes or stuff.
Ah, yes, yes, yes. Yeah, thank you,
Next
Yari.
episode or
Yeah, so next Monday, so where we normally have the dance workshop and we have the Peter Dance With, we are now starting a day in dance with me and Yari, where we invite a guest to speak about their yesterday, and we use that like to understand how the mundane and the profane, the beautiful all marry into this relationship to dance, and use it as a way to speak with others around how do we stay with dance? How do we stay with dancing? Um, be it from cooking meals to what time we go to bed, like what are the things that allow for us to do this, what we are doing, and also to get into the nitty-gritty of it, because dance isn't just what we do in the studio, it's everything that's around it as well, and to sort of be inclusive of that and see where that takes us. It's an experiment, right, Yari? So we don't know what it's going to be, but um, we've recorded the first one with Sarah Merck, and it's extremely exciting.
yes, extremely exciting. The
All
mundane,
right.
the dance as
Yeah.
every day. Hmm?
Mm.
The
All right.
expanded concept of dance at that point.
Exactly. 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 And it's all just in relationship to these conversations, in a way of like, how do we do this? How do we think that? I'm very excited. So yeah,
Yes.
next Monday, this is Friday, so after the weekend, Sarah will come out, and then on the Friday we'll talk about it again, which will be really nice.
Yes. Looking forward.
Yeah. All right. See you then, Yari.
Have a nice day. Oh, wait. Yes.
You forgot to dance. We must always dance.
Almost.
Just repeat that mistake. See you
Almost, I
again.
forgot. I
See you
did.
again. See you again. See you again. Next, 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 next. See you again. Next, 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 next. I think I should dance with my eyes closed.